It's one of the highest profile succession stories in modern corporate history. Who will succeed Warren Buffett as chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway? According to the Wall Street Journal, the answer could be Li Lu, a friend of vice chairman Charlie Munger's. Just who is Li Lu, and is he the right man for the job? Here to discuss is Robert Miles, author of The Warren Buffett CEO, and joining us on the phone, our friend Jeff Matthews, general partner at Ram Partners, and author of Pilgrimage to Warren Buffett's Omaha. Okay, let me start with Robert Miles. Robert Miles, is this a trial balloon? How far along is this? And, of course, is Mr. Lu the right guy for the job?
Well, it's not a trial balloon. Warren has long said that his job will be split into three parts after he retires, which will hopefully be after his death. There'll be a non-executive chairman, most likely his son, Howard Buffett, a CEO in charge of operations, most likely David Sokol, and a CIO or a CEO in charge of capital allocation, most likely to be Li Lu. I think he'd be terrific.
You know, let me go to Jeff for a moment. Do you agree with that? I'll start by first asking you that question, and then if you could just describe a little bit of Mr. Lee's investment strategy.
Oh, hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on. I think Bob's right. I think he's sized it right. I would caution that, you know, with Buffett, it isn't over till it's over, and he can change his mind. But for now, this guy looks like a good candidate. His style is absolutely Buffett-esque. It's very focused. He gets nitty-gritty on companies. He delves deep. He meets with everybody at the company that he can. He does a lot of background work, and he doesn't really focus on what the stocks do day to day. So it's right up Buffett's alley.
Robert Miles, let me go back to you, though. Okay, you're saying, if I have this right, that Li Lu is the investment strategist, but not the guy that actually runs the company, right? The company's become an operating company. I mean, you got railroads in there and big insurance companies, financial conglomerates. So are you saying they're going to divide up the front office, and then, in effect, there will be no single person to run Berkshire?
That's correct. It'll look a lot like Geico looks today. There's a non-executive chairman by the name of Buffett. There's a CEO in charge of operations, Tony Nicely, and a CEO in charge of capital, Lou Simpson. So it'll look just like that.
Robert, how important is it from a strategy standpoint to be actually floating Mr. Lee's name out there right now? In other words, investors don't necessarily want to wake up one day and find that, you know, Mr. Buffett's retiring and they've got to have someone else new in the hot seat there. Is this perhaps an attempt to try and really pave the road ahead of any major developments and really test the waters to see if investors like it?
Well, as a shareholder, I am comforted when Berkshire Hathaway and its board of directors does put together a succession plan for Warren Buffett. I do understand that, like NBC, when they announced Jay Leno's successor too early and that didn't work out, that could conceivably happen in this case, too, where you got a guy at the top of his game running the company. Why would you want to replace him in terms of his skill set?
Jeff Matthews, what are some of Mr. Lu's investment triumphs?
Well, BYD is the big kahuna. That accounts for probably, I'm guessing, 2/3 to 3/4 to even 7/8 of his performance if you cut through the numbers. It's hard to get numbers, but if you do the math on what the Journal reported today, that's the big kahuna, and nothing else has been disclosed publicly in his hedge fund. Although in the past he's talked about buying Timberland when it was a down-and-out shoe company, and some Korean conglomerate. So he's very much a deep value investor.
And how important, Jeff, is having Mr. Munger's backing?
It probably couldn't matter more. I mean, it is so important that Munger goes along with this. Munger is Buffett's consigliere. They've been partners for more than 50 years. Munger is every bit as smart as Buffett, and his advice to Buffett is something that Buffett really relies on. So the fact that Larry hit it right at the top when he said Munger called it a foregone conclusion, that couldn't be more important.
All right.
I think another point is the age of Li Lu. The fact that he's 44 is exactly what they're looking for in terms of a successor. Just like GE, they want to give the successor to Warren a very long road And at 44, he'll certainly have a lot of time to do his thing.
I also want to say he's actually quite an inspirational story. I don't know how much of his background you've read, but he was a student leader at the Tiananmen Square protests. His parents were sent to labor camps when he was very young during the Cultural Revolution, and he was raised by an illiterate coal miner for a certain part of his life. I mean, he's a survivor.
He's got a great story.
He has learned survival skills. A great story, very inspirational.